Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Betting Pros Prop Bets live stream. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice, and let's talk about some of my favorite prop bets for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs this weekend and what a divisional round it should be. Hopefully, it's going to be an improvement on a pretty uninteresting super wild card weekend that gave us only 2 competitive games out of 6. But, all these games, each of the 4 has a point spread under a touchdown. So I think we're going to see more close games this weekend. And what you are looking at now is the bettingpros.com prop bets cheat sheet, a powerful tool if you enjoy betting prop bets. And what this does is it sorts the possible prop bets in terms of like the strength of the play based on projections, an accumulation of projections. So it's not just a single person's projection. This is a collection of them. And you can sort this by game, by the kind of prop you're looking to bet, by player, and by best odds. So, depending on what site you are placing your bets on. So at the top, we see a couple of 49ers passing props with Jimmy Garoppolo over 228.5 passing yards and Deebo Samuel over 51.5 receiving yards. Personally, I'm not real interested in playing either of these. I'm just a little worried about Jimmy G with the sprained shoulder, the bad thumb, and the possibility, well, it's actually going to happen. It's going to be single-digit temperatures in Green Bay Saturday night, which might make passing a little more difficult than Jimmy is used to, even though Jimmy is from suburban Chicago, where I am located right now. So he's no stranger to the cold, but still, this is going to be a tough conditions for Jimmy. And I'm not too interested in grabbing any of the 49ers passing overs, but actually there is one. I'll get to that later. But right below that, we see the over on Joe Burrow passing yardage, 276.5. And I like that one. But the one I like even more, and let's talk about this one, is Jamar Chase over 76 yards receiving. Chase has bettered this number in 3 of his last 4 games, and the one miss in that span was a meaningless Week 18 game in which he played 5 snaps. So we can't even hold that one against him. In his last 3 games, 7 catches, 125 yards against the against the Ravens, 11 catches, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs, and 9 catches, 116 yards against the Raiders last week. So if you had Chase in fantasy this season, you know that he was a little up and down. Sometimes you'd get a couple of 50-yard games, and then he would spring a 200-yard game. But it seems like as the season has gone on, he has been a more consistent contributor. And of course, he has the excellent chemistry with Joe Burrow, his former quarterback at LSU. And speaking of LSU, kind of an interesting individual matchup for him. He's going to be going up against Titans cornerback Christian Fulton, who was his teammate at LSU. And not only that, but Fulton was his high school teammate too. So, some people might be a little concerned that gives Fulton a little bit better knowledge of Chase's game, but you could also argue the same thing for Chase. So I don't think that's a big factor. More of a factor for me is the fact that the Titans are a pass funnel defense. Opponents have thrown on them 65% of the time this season. The average passing percentage against any defense, 58%. So teams are definitely passing against the Titans because it's easier to throw on them, to run on them. The Titans have a good pass defense. So I like this Chase over. Another bet that the player props cheat sheet really likes here. George Kittle, the over on his yardage is, I'm sorry. Let me go back to the cheat sheet here. There we go. The over on yardage for Kittle currently set at 47.5. And that seems really light for a George Kittle receiving yardage total. Understandably, I suppose, because over his last 4 games, he has not played a big role in the passing game. Just 9 catches and 78 yards in his last 4 on 15 targets. That's an average of 19 and a half yards a game. But boy, last time he went against the Packers, he lit them up. 7 catches for 92 yards. I think they're going to get Kittle more involved in this one. And this total is just set so low that I've got to jump on it. As you can see here, the projection is set at 64.35 yards. So, he's a pretty good bet to clear this one. Another one I'm going to bring up that the prop bet cheat sheet likes, if we just scroll down here a little bit, is Cooper Kupp receiving yards. He's currently set at 99 and a half. So he would need to hit the 100 mark, the century mark, to clear the over on this. And we know that he's a pretty good bet to do that. He averaged 114.5 receiving yards during the regular season. What can you say about this dude? He won the Triple Crown of receiving 145 catches, 1,947 yards, falling just short of Calvin Johnson's single season record and a league high 16 touchdown catches. And Kupp has been really hard on the Buccaneers throughout his career. He's faced them 3 times in the last 3 years. Earlier this year, 9 catches for 96 yards, would have fallen just short of this total. But in a game against them in 2020, he had 11 catches for 145 yards. And in 2019, he had 9 catches for 121 yards against the Bucs. And it's not clear who's going to be covering Kupp this weekend. It could be Sean Murphy-Bunting of the Buccaneers, who's dealing with a hamstring injury and did not play last week against the Eagles in Tampa Bay's wildcard game. If he can't go, it's going to be safety Antoine Winfield Jr. And look, Winfield is a terrific young player, but a safety trying to cover Kupp. Like, Winfield held Quez Watkins to 2 catches for 37 yards last week, but Quez Watkins and Cooper Kupp are 2 entirely different players. Boy, I really like the over here on Kupp. So a couple other bets I like, and I know the prop bet cheat sheet kind of likes the over by a little bit on Patrick Mahomes at 280 and a half passing yards. That's the 7th bet that pops up on the prop bet cheat sheet this week. I kind of like the under here, actually. I'm going to defy the cheat sheet. Mahomes has cleared this number in just 1 of his last 4 games and 2 of his last 8. And he's facing the best pass defense in the league. Like, the Bills have allowed a 56% completion percentage this year and are averaging just opponents are averaging just 5.7 yards per attempt against them, by far the lowest rate in the league. And, they lost Tre'Davious White to a torn ACL on Thanksgiving night. But even without Tre'Davious White, they haven't really skipped a beat. They've allowed since then in, I believe, 7 games. Yes, 7 games. Only 1 quarterback has cleared this over-under number of 280 against them. That was Tom Brady. And only 2 of the 7 quarterbacks they've faced since the Tre'Davious White injury have cleared 200 yards. So they are still just stymieing opposing passing games. It's probably going to be, the weather forecast isn't too bad for Kansas City Sunday night, but it will be chilly, maybe not ideal passing conditions. So I'm going with the under on Mahomes here. Another under I'm taking, rushing yardage on Joe Mixon. As mentioned earlier, the Titans have a really tough run defense. I mean, they have averaged, they've given up 84.6 rushing yards per game. That's not a whole lot. That's the 2nd fewest in the league. They're giving up only 3.9 yards per carry, and they have done a phenomenal job of preventing the big run this season. Only 3 runs of 20 or more yards against the Titans all year. So this is a staunch run defense. And really, Mixon just hasn't been doing much damage on the ground lately. He's carried the ball fewer than 20 times in each of his last 6 games. So he's not going to beat this number just on volume alone. And let's see if we can find this number. I am going off 59 and a half, which we had on DraftKings as of yesterday afternoon. And Here it is, 60.5. It's up to. So I like the under even more on that, even though the prop bet cheat sheet is just a little over. So really, one of the trends I'm following here is that ever since the Bengals lost Riley Reef, he last played for them in week 14 and will not be back. Since then, they've averaged just 82.4 rushing yards a game. And so in 5 of his last 6 games, Mixon has been under this total. I think he's going to stay under this week. A similar rushing total that I like is Devin Singletary. He's set at 59.5. And boy, that's just too low a number for this guy. And Singletary's also got a very low price in DFS contests this weekend. It's like people are not quite on to the fact that he's become a workhorse for the Bills. In his last, 6 games since week 14, his snap shares have been 82%, 93%, 68%, 80%, 76%, and 86%. He's playing a lot. He's averaged 18.4 carries and 80.8 rushing yards a game over that stretch, over the last 5, actually. And he has failed to top 59 yards only once during that period. So I think he's an excellent bet this weekend to go over that against, kind of a mediocre Chiefs run defense. 2 more, actually, just 1 more. Sorry. We'll make it an even 7. So far, we have got Patrick Mahomes under on yardage, Joe Mixon under on 60.5 rushing yards, Devin Singletary over 59.5, Jamar Chase over whatever he's set at. It was 76.5, George Kittle over 48.5 or 47.5, excuse me, and Cooper Kupp over 99.5. The last one I am going to give you is Mr. Devante Adams. And I love this one. He is set at 94.5. The prop bet cheat sheet gives us a projection of 101.59 yards. And we'll do another local angle here on this one with Adams being a native of Redwood City, less than 30 miles south of San Francisco. And he played his high school ball in Palo Alto. So he's from the area, and he has just tortured his hometown team over his career. In 5 career games against the 49ers, Adams is averaging 9.6 receptions, 123.6 yards, and 1 touchdown a game. When he faced the 49ers back in week 3, he had 12 catches for 132 yards. And there is just not a cornerback on the 49ers roster capable of handling Devante Adams, especially at home in Lambeau Field. I think this is going to be kind of an easy over for Devante. So that's going to do it for us this week. Hope you enjoy the divisional round, and I think you will. It's going to be a great set of games. And what else is there to do this weekend? It's going to be cold in most of the country. So stay in, kick your feet up, make something good to eat. And be sure to visit BettingPros. We're going to take you through the rest of the NFL playoffs. And, of course, we've got NBA. We've got an NBA prop bets cheat sheet. We've got March Madness coming up. We're going to be doing a lot of MLB stuff on BettingPros. So find us at bettingpros.com. Enjoy your football, and we'll talk to you again next week.